Welcome to the show. This is Future Shock. I'm Edward St. Pé. It's good to be with you today as we hobble together a program that will take us into the latest news in AI. You know, yesterday was a big day. We didn't mention it yesterday. It was kind of happening as we did the show, but do you realize that Apple introduced their plans for integrating AI into the Apple phone? And I think you have to have a 15, an iPhone 15, for it to be activated, because the prior ones won't have it, but the new phones will have it. And it's going to be, I guess, well, we're going to find out, because we've got Tim Cook on the show today from Apple. He'll be talking a little bit about what they're doing, and also a story. Both of these stories are from CNBC. I thought one of them was from MSNBC, but they're both from CNBC. Basically what they did is they brought the Apple announcement via their platforms to the public. And so we've got copies of that. So we'll take a look at that. And it's kind of big news because, you know, Apple, you know, you haven't heard that much about Apple, although, you know, Siri has been around a long time, and Siri is probably, you know, up until ChatGPT 4 broke through, you know, Alexa from Amazon and Siri from Apple. That's kind of what we were dealing with from the standpoint of interacting regularly with an AI type of product. But now, of course, it's taken a leap past there with ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 4o and ChatGPT 5, which is coming. We don't know what's going to happen there, but it's going to be an exponential leap from probably anything we've known so far. A pretty big leap, getting closer to what they're calling AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which is kind of like on a comparative scale with humans. So the AI will be right there with humans. I think it's already beyond humans, and I think they're already conscious personally. I know that's probably something that, you know, most people would sort of dispute, maybe some, but some people agree with that concept that we're already there. You know, it's not announced yet. Maybe it's not quite there where it's going to be, but you know, in dealing with ChatGPT 4o, O for Omni, if you're dealing with ChatGPT 4o right now, you know that it's an amazing thing. Yesterday, I had a little encounter with ChatGPT 4o. In my case, I call him Alfred, and he knows he's Alfred because, you know, when I call it up on my phone, I'll say, hello, who's this? And he'll say, hello, it's Alfred. Hello, Edward, how are you doing? He said, what have you got going today? I said, well, I got an idea. Let's talk about this. And we talk about it. And so and we have a complete discussion. I think yesterday we developed a logo for Coast Teleport, which we're doing a new website. So if you want to take a look at our website for Ocean 7 TV and our main project, which has always been Weather Vision, we do weather for TV stations from this location at Ocean 7. We're in a number of TV markets, and we have been doing this a long time, probably since 1990. We went up on a satellite in Jackson, Mississippi with TV weather for TV stations who didn't have a weatherman. We invented that. But at that point, it had never been done. You know, there was no remote TV weather. Localized weather for TV stations who didn't have a weatherman. And back at that time, Fox News was just starting, and they didn't do a lot of local news, and so they needed something news-oriented, so we gave them local weather for each Fox station. That's how we got started. And of course, at that time, we had a sponsor with us who traveled across many different areas. It was Bengal Roach Spray, and bless their hearts, they were with us at the very beginning and kind of got started and helped. First, we did radio. I was working in television. We started doing radio weather with Bengal as the spot. Bengal Roach Spray, Bengal, you might remember that song. And then we flipped over to television. I told the president of Bengal, who was my friend, Bob LeBlanc, I said, you know, we can do the same thing for television that we're doing. I'm already working in TV, right? But we are doing this on radio, and it's working. I know we can do it for television. We need to build a satellite uplink, which is what we did, and we built one. And it was a pretty when I look back now in 1990, it was a pretty bold move because it was a lot of money. We built a huge 7-meter satellite uplink in Jackson, Mississippi, based on the idea that we will be able to uplink TV weather to TV stations all over the country. And we just had a handful of clients at the time. And we built it, and we went up. And the big thing at the time was satellite uplinking was analog. There was no digital. It was just beginning of digital. So we went up with this analog signal, and then within a year or two, everything switched to digital. And there was really no standard for digital at that point using that technology on the satellite. So it was in Europe they were doing it, and in Canada. So I had to go to Canada to talk to some people who were using the technology. And that's how we decided to take another gamble on switching over the analog system to digital and picking whatever. We didn't know what the standard was going to evolve into in the United States, so we had to make a choice. We took the one they were using in Canada, hoping, because there were a few different means of digitalization of the signal going up. We took a gamble, and it didn't work. And so we were able to switch. And now, why did we have to do that? Because when you're buying satellite time on a satellite, analog, as we started out with, as time went on and everything became more digital, those transponders that we had a whole half of a transponder we were shooting up to, which was costing, let's just say it cost $10,000 a month. Okay. What they were doing at the satellite side, they were saying, okay, we've got this big analog transponder. We can divvy it up into 50 digital transponders. And instead of making, they were selling that whole half transponder to us for $10,000 a month, that half transponder now could be worth to them $500,000 a month by divvying it up into little small pieces of digital components. And that's what they were doing. So our costs were going out of the roof for $8,000 to $10,000 to $20,000. We weren't going to be able to do it. The only way to survive was to now make a big investment again into a digital format, which we didn't know what was going to be the standard. So we did it anyway, and sure enough, we picked the right one. And so then our cost went back down to, the same as it was in the first place, maybe $8,000 a month, going up digital. So that's how we survived that. But I digress. We've been through a lot of technology, and we've been doing it a long time. So the idea now with AI, I'm an Apple proponent. I've been a Mac guy ever since the beginning, I guess, because, the way I looked at it was Microsoft, as I looked at the process, when we were doing weather and stuff, we were using computers to get weather in, and we still do. The Microsoft products, they were good, they were workhorses, they could do everything, but they were not artistically inclined. They were not creative, and Apple was. And so, and you had Steve Jobs, who was the guy who, he really revolutionized everything with Apple because, that interface, that graphic interface, I can remember, and I've got the Mac back in the back, I'll have to bring it out here. I've still got two of them, the little Macs, right? I believe they still actually work, even though we don't turn them on. But those little Macs, that began the process of, instead of typing in a code and doing the work, you had an icon, a graphic, an icon, right? It was a graphic visualization. It became more user-friendly. That was Steve Jobs that did that. Now, of course, Microsoft copied it. That's when Windows became famous, right? But they copied it. It was a complete copy of what Steve Jobs had done. There was no creative intent. There was no creative genius behind it. It was a complete copy of what Steve Jobs did. And I'm sure it actually pissed him off because it should have, because it was a ripoff, to me and to him too, I'm sure. But what could he do? They did it. And that's been the case. I mean, Apple's always been a creative force. And so for them now to, a little late in the game, not really because of Siri, and all, but a little late as far as really the exciting action that's going on in the AI sector. It's a little late. They should be the leader, but they're not. But now they're jumping in. So we're going to take a look at a couple of videos of how they're going to relate the AI into the Apple phone. And I've always said, I mean, if you've got a phone, now think about what Steve Jobs did. We could look at Star Trek. Captain Kirk lands on another planet and he pulls out his device and he's talking back to the people back at the ship, right? Basically, that's what this device is. That's what the Apple phone has become in all of the copies of Apple, right? Of the iPhone. But we can do everything on that iPhone. We've got all the apps to do all kinds of things on that phone. The only thing we can't do yet is to transport ourselves through space and time, you know. But maybe with quantum computing, we'll be able to do that soon too. But so we've got the iPhone. Now, what is the next step? Well, if you infuse AI into that iPhone, you should be able to do things that we can't even conceive of right now on the fly with our phone. You know, we did a couple of stories on the Rabbit, and the Rabbit is a little handheld device. And I just saw today, I think they've sold, I think 100,000 of those, and they've announced it maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. 100,000 of those devices. They're not that expensive, a few $100s. And basically, it's a camera and it's different things, but it's an AI device. It's not really a phone. But to me, you know, and it sounds great. I think I didn't get one yet. It's not like I need it really at this point because I've got ChatGPT 4 on my iPhone. But once you integrate AI into the iPhone, now it's a complete system into the OS operating system, right? So once you do that, it's an integrated system all in one. So I think that Apple's entry into the infusion of AI into that iPhone is going to be revolutionary. Now, I'm a fan of Apple, and I always have been, even without Steve Jobs. I mean, I'm a Steve Jobs fan, and I've sort of made it my business to learn about him through the years and what he did in his track from, you know, from his garage, his creating the project with Steve Wozniak in his garage, all the way through the process, all the way until he died at a very young age, you know. But he was a revolutionary guy on the planet. He said he wanted to put a dent in the universe, a kink in the universe, and he did. And he left the company and he came back again and he resurrected the company, and that's why they're such a great company today, because of Steve Jobs. But even with Tim Cook, who's the new president and CEO, who was kind of picked by Steve Jobs before he died to take over the company, he may not be the Steve Jobs visionary, but he is got the same spirit and he understands what their mission is. And so we'll hear from him in just a second. So we've got that story, and we've got another story that was the basic propaganda that was released by Apple regarding look at what we're doing and what's about to hit, you know. So we've got Steve, we've got Tim Cook, and we've got an Apple propaganda film that we'll take a look at, those two things. And we've got a few other things here that we can look at. We've got ChatGPT 5, we'll make ChatGPT 4.0 look like toddler's play. All right, we had a little bit of that, I think it was yesterday. We're going to have more of that. So stay tuned for all of that. And then let me mention this program is made possible by our sponsor, which is the Pendragon Apothecary. And Pendragon Apothecary, now that little logo right there was created by me and Alfred, our AI. I told him what we wanted, Pendragon Apothecary, with some Celtic imagery, and the dragon, which is, of course, Uther Pendragon, Seal, the father of King Arthur. So people ask, well, what is that dragon all about? Well, it's infused with Celtic. The dragon was on the flag of Wales, right? It was part of the Celtic heritage. It was part of it. You know, it comes from that whole world of Celtic, the Celtic world, and Uther Pendragon, father of King Arthur. So if you want to find out about it, just look into the Celtic world of myth, and you'll find out. The dragon, you know, he was a good character. He wasn't a bad character. I think things like that sort of got through the years. You know, I think all of that sort of got kind of confused in some ways with, I think, all the way back to the Roman times when the Romans came in and they discovered the Celts there, and they said, you know, what are these people doing? You know, they met these wild people up in the hills, and you know, everything got kind of convoluted at that point. But it was a symbol of goodness and righteousness and justice and all that. That's really where the dragon comes from. A lot of misinterpretation along the way, I think. But I'm digressing again. Let's take a look at this first video clip. This is the president and CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, talking about the infusion of AI into the actual iPhone. So let's go there and we'll be back.
At Apple, it's always been our goal to design powerful personal products that enrich people's lives by enabling them to do the things that matter most as simply and easily as possible. We've been using artificial intelligence and machine learning for years to help us further that goal. Recent developments in generative intelligence and large language models offer powerful capabilities that provide the opportunity to take the experience of using Apple products to new heights. So as we look to build in these incredible new capabilities, we want to ensure that the outcome reflects the principles at the core of our products. It has to be powerful enough to help with the things that matter most to you. It has to be intuitive and easy to use. It has to be deeply integrated into your product experiences. Most importantly, it has to understand you and be grounded in your personal context, like your routine, your relationships, your communications, and more. And of course, it has to be built with privacy from the ground up. Together, all of this goes beyond artificial intelligence. It's personal intelligence, and it's the next big step for Apple. Introducing Apple Intelligence, the new personal intelligence system that makes your most personal products even more useful and delightful. To tell you all about it, here's Craig.
This is a moment we've been working towards for a long time. We're tremendously excited about the power of generative models. And there are already some really impressive chat tools out there that perform a vast array of tasks using world knowledge. But these tools know very little about you or your needs. With iOS 18, iPadOS 18, and macOS Sequoia, we are embarking on a new journey to bring you intelligence that understands you. Apple Intelligence is the personal intelligence system that puts powerful generative models right at the core of your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. It draws on your personal context to give you intelligence that's most helpful and relevant for you. It protects your privacy at every step, and it is deeply integrated into our platforms and throughout the apps you rely on to communicate, work, and express yourself. Let's take a closer look at Apple Intelligence, starting with its incredible capabilities. Then, we'll tell you about its unique architecture. And after that, we'll show you how it elevates so many of your everyday experiences. Let's begin with capabilities. Apple Intelligence will enable your iPhone, iPad, and Mac to understand and create language as well as images and take action for you to simplify interactions across your apps. And what's truly unique is its understanding of your personal context. Language and text are fundamental to how we communicate and work. And the large language models built into Apple Intelligence deliver deep, natural language understanding, making so many of your day-to-day tasks faster and easier. For example, your iPhone can prioritize your notifications to minimize unnecessary distractions while ensuring you don't miss something important. Apple Intelligence also powers brand new writing tools that you can access system-wide to feel more confident in your writing. Writing tools can rewrite, proofread, and summarize text for you, whether you're working on an article or blog post, condensing ideas to share with your classmates, or looking over a review before you post it online. And they're available automatically across Mail, Notes, Safari, Pages, Keynote, and even your third-party apps. In addition to language, Apple Intelligence offers a host of capabilities for images. From photos to emojis and GIFs, it's so much fun to express ourselves visually. And now you can create totally original images to make everyday conversations even more enjoyable. And because Apple Intelligence understands the people in your photo library, you can personalize these images for your conversations. So, when you wish a friend a happy birthday, you can create an image of them surrounded by cake, balloons, and flowers to make it extra festive. And the next time you tell mom that she's your hero, you can send an image of her in a superhero cape to really land your point. You can create images in 3 unique styles: sketch, illustration, and animation. In addition to messages, this experience is built into apps throughout the system, like Notes, Freeform, Keynote, and Pages.
Okay, well, we're going to have to continue with that. We're getting a little short on time, but there is another video we've got that will continue right now with the launch of Apple. You know, to me, when I'm hearing that, it seems like they are basically going to be doing exactly what ChatGPT 4o is doing right now. And so it's an interesting thing. So it's great when you're the first, you're out there, and they're not first. So yes, it's going to integrate into the Apple phone, great. But how will they compete with ChatGPT 4? Let me tell you a bit of news that I've also heard yesterday and this morning too, I think. Elon Musk has come out since this big announcement yesterday about Apple, and he has made he has put forth the edict that he will ban the use of all iPhones for all Tesla employees, SpaceX employees, Neuralink employees. There, it's going to be banned because he is claiming that technology that Apple is using there is going to be a threat to security and basically for those employees at his companies. And I'll have more on that. Maybe we can do have a story on that tomorrow. But Elon Musk is going to ban it. He's not going to allow anybody who works there to have an iPhone infused with that technology. Interesting, right? So the AI wars will soon be started. Okay, we've got a second video. We've got about 5 minutes left in the show. We've got a second video, and this is not Tim Cook from Apple, but this is more of a propaganda film from Apple, talking about the infusion of AI into their new phone. Let's go to that second video.
Today, Siri helps you get everyday tasks done quickly and easily. In fact, Siri users make 1.5 billion voice requests every single day. 13 years ago, we introduced Siri, the original intelligent assistant, and we had an ambitious vision for it. We've been steadily building towards that vision. And now, thanks to the incredible power of Apple Intelligence, we have the foundational capabilities to take a major step forward. So we can make Siri more natural, more contextually relevant, and of course, more personal to you. Right off the bat, you'll see Siri's got a new look. Let me show you. When you talk to Siri, you'll notice it's more deeply integrated into the system experience with this elegant glowing light that wraps around the edge of your screen. And you can speak to Siri more naturally, thanks to richer language understanding capabilities. Even if I stumble over my words, Siri understands what I'm getting at. What does the weather look like for tomorrow at Muir Beach? Oh wait, I meant Muir Woods.
The forecast is calling for clear skies in the morning near Muir Woods National Monument.
Sometimes it takes me a beat to figure out what I actually want to ask Siri, and now it follows right along. Siri also maintains conversational context, so I can follow up and say, create an event for a hike there tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Hike is scheduled for 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on June 11th.
I didn't have to mention Muir Woods again. Siri understood what I meant when I said there. There are also certain times when you might not want to speak to Siri out loud. What's great is that now, at any time, you have the option to type to Siri. With just a double tap at the bottom of the screen, I can quickly and quietly ask Siri to set an alarm. And you can switch between text and voice, communicating in whatever way feels right for the moment. We're also laying the groundwork for some brand new ways that Siri will be able to support you. One of which is its extensive product knowledge. Siri now holds a great deal of information about features and settings and can answer thousands of questions when you want to know how to do something on your iPhone, iPad, or Mac. Even if you don't know exactly what a feature is called, you can just describe it, and Siri will find the info you're looking for. Like this.
Okay, we're going to have more on that video tomorrow. Now, it looks awfully a lot like ChatGPT 4, where you can type in to text to Siri. So it's an interesting time as we're going to see the AI infused into the iPhone. And we'll have, for this week, we'll have more stories on that. And I'm going to try to find a story on the banning of all iPhones by Elon Musk and all of his companies because of this infusion of AI into the iPhone, which he doesn't like, evidently. Interesting time. You know, the interesting point about what she was mentioning and how that relates to like ChatGPT 4. Oh, the inflection is so important. Like here's an example. If I say the inflection, the context in your interaction with the AI. For example, if I say, "Hello, Alfred, how are you doing?" Alfred will come back and say, "I'm doing great, Edward, how are you?" And if I say, "I'm doing great," no, if I say, I'm doing good," he will come back and say, "That's great, Edward. What can we work on today?" But if he says, "How are you doing, Edward?" and I say, "Well, Alfred, I'm doing good," the inflection, the difference in the inflection, he'll come back and say, "Well, Edward, you don't sound like you're doing so good. What's the problem?" Isn't that truly amazing? And isn't that close to consciousness? He understands the inflection of my tone. The same word, "I'm doing great, I'm doing good," versus, "Well, I'm doing good." Okay? He understands the difference in the inflection of my voice using the same word, but the inflection was different. And his response to me will be different based on his understanding of that inflection. Well, seems like that's pretty close to consciousness to me. Anyway, where's it going to get? If it gets any better than that, where will we be, right? And that's what ChatGPT 5 is going to be, I'm sure, even beyond that. So, okay, well, that's it for today's show. And we'll have more on all of these developments on the show tomorrow, so stay tuned. We're streaming on YouTube, Edward St. Pei, YouTube, Edward St. Pei, Facebook, Ocean 7 TV, Facebook, and we're live over the air on channel 7.1, which is Ocean 7 across the Gulf Coast. Now, we've got a number of channels, 7.1, that I understand, Clarence, 7.1 is Ocean 7, where you're watching us right now. 7.2, let me ask you, Clarence, to pop up the Magic Channel logo, the Magic Hour channel. The Magic Hour channel, our channel that is streaming our movie library, MHC, Magic Hour channel. Now, you can look at 7.2 across the Gulf Coast. It's 24/7 movies, the old golden age of Hollywood film from our own library. We're doing that channel ourselves. It's called a FAST channel, F-A-S-T, free, over the air, or free, ad-supported television, FAST channel. It's kind of where it's going today, right? When everything else is over with, there'll be FAST channels out there. When everything else is obsolete, and all of the spectrum used for television is allocated to self-driving cars and owned by Google, we will have a FAST channel and we can still be in the television business. So if you are watching it on 7.2, great, but you can also now download the app on your Amazon. It's Amazon Fire Stick, right? You can download the Magic Hour channel app. You can watch it anywhere on the planet. And also Roku, you can watch it anywhere on the planet if you download the Magic Hour channel on Roku. We're working on the Android device, which I guess will be for Chromecast, and also Android device phones to watch it. And we're also working on, of all things, the Apple TV app. And so soon we'll have those too. So that's our plan. Thank you for being with us. I know we're running late. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yesterday is yesteryear. Set your sights for tomorrowland. Future Shock is here to help you make your stand.